I'm David Debato, and you've just entered the No Delusion Zone. Well, folks, I'm going to be discussing the topic that I think just about everyone is talking about in this nation and all over the world. And that, of course, is the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. But I think where I am going to diverge, take another route than most, if not all, of the pundits, experts, political hacks, and just the average person, I guess, is that although I don't condone political violence, in fact, quite the opposite. I think political violence is a disgrace, is no way to settle any political question, and certainly has no business in any democracy. Having said that, I can't lie. After all, this is the No Delusion Zone, and I would be delusional if I told you that I felt at all bad for Mr. Trump to have felt some of the same fear, if only for a moment, that he tries to place in other people. The fear of violence, the fear of death. Again, I'm not supporting what happened to him at all. But it's what we call a comeuppance. He has been, how shall I say, he's been spewing forth a nonstop litany of violence, suggesting, recommending, and advocating violence against his so-called political enemies since I don't know, since he came down the escalator in New York about 9 years ago. You know, it was only a matter of time till someone took him up on his requests to settle political questions with violence. Now, I have no more insider information about that lunatic that shot at Donald Trump, this, I guess, 20-year-old nutcase from just outside of Butler, Pennsylvania, south of Pittsburgh. I have no idea who he really was. I read what everyone else reads. He was possibly a loner, possibly semi-intellectual, possibly leaning to the right, actually. He was no liberal. Engineering student, a love of guns. Boy, isn't that unusual in America with a right-leaning individual who, by the way, was a registered Republican. Yes, they are saying he gave all of $15, allegedly, to some left-leaning or liberal cause a couple of years ago. But he is or was a registered Republican. Again, I just want to make it really, really clear. I don't advocate anybody shooting anybody. Well, that's not entirely true, but I don't advocate political violence. And I would not have suggested or hoped that somebody would have shot at Donald Trump. But at the same time, this is something that he has incited people to do for years. Who can forget the sadism, the glee, the chuckles that Donald Trump expressed after Nancy Pelosi's elderly husband was violently and viciously attacked in the front doorway of his own house by some MAGA lunatic wielding a hammer and almost beat to death. But to Trump and MAGA, that was a joke. That was funny. They even accused him of having a gay relationship with the young lad. I can't think of anything more disgusting. And how about all the tourists that were lost, apparently, on January 6, 2021, just roaming around inside the U.S. Capitol? They were innocents, according to Donald Trump and MAGA. And there was no violence. There were no weapons. Nobody got injured, least of all police officers. And they are, as Trump would say, political prisoners. How many times at Trump rallies has he incited violence against the audience? Several times. He told audience members, MAGA members, far-right supporters, that if they beat up any of the libs that happen to be in the audience, such as the media, he'd pay their legal bills. Nice guy. But he doesn't advocate violence. Of course not. Stand down and stand by. Remember that? That was the prelude to the insurrection on January 6th, to the Proud Boys, themselves a very nonviolent, benevolent, peace-loving organization. No, Donald Trump is an advocate of violence. He's an advocate of hate, of rage. He proposes nothing new. He proposes building nothing. He doesn't propose trying to get along or build bridges to anyone, unless there's a profit in it for Donald Trump, of course. No. He advocates violence, civil war, if necessary. This is a loathsome, horrible individual. And you know what's bad? Well, it's all bad, but the worst thing about this is now, because he is going to be a martyr to MAGA and the far-right lunatics, President Biden, who was already behind in this race and may have dropped out, who knows now, is probably not even going to aggressively attack Donald Trump. No, I believe that the Democrats now are going to just roll over and play dead and assume that Trump and the Republicans' victory in November is just inevitable. And by doing so, they're going to give away our democracy. They're going to give away this 248-year American experiment and allow MAGA and Trump to turn us into an authoritarian, not just an authoritarian, a theocratic authoritarian dictatorship, a Christian nationalist dictatorship modeled after the fictional city or nation of Gilead. That's what it means when the Democrats roll over, play dead, and believe that, oh, now they can't verbally attack Trump because he was shot at. Oh, we all must say how much we are behind him and we feel so bad. Well, guess what? I don't feel bad at all. I really don't feel bad at all. What I feel bad about is the Democrats giving up our democracy and allowing us to become a dictatorship because they're too cowardly to do anything about it. Joe Biden doesn't have a spine. He may not have a brain anymore, but he certainly doesn't have a spine. And I don't know of any Democrats who do. And that makes me sick as well. Going down without a fight is not who I am. But apparently it's who the Democrats are. Makes me sick. Makes me really, really sick. So I'm going to have to leave it there for today. I will be speaking about this in the days, weeks, and months to come, because as I've said before, and I'll say it again, I am not going to take this lying down. Unlike the Democrats, I'm not going to give up our democracy without a fight. There may not be much I can do about it, but I'm certainly going to speak about it and attack verbally, at least, the MAGA lunatics, because the Democrats apparently don't have the guts to do it. So, take care, stay safe, and please stay sane.